We're live! Hello everyone, welcome back. Ray and I have just started our nice 5-hour, well, not just started, about an hour ago. We are about an hour into our 5-hour drive back to Grand Rapids. We have 2 people watching us already.
Cheers to you.
What up? Wow, we are popular. 2, 3. Hi guys. We're an hour into our drive back to Grand Rapids, coming from the 2019 Arnold Fencing Classic HEMA tournaments, part of the Arnold Fencing Classic, part of the Arnold Fitness Convention, I think. 2019. We had a blast there, so we wanted to discuss our topics and our thoughts while we eat our nice driving food. This is a Baconator fry from Wendy's. So, where should we get started? Well, so here's what Ray and I did. We were part of the Grand Rapids HEMA Society group. We sent 6. There were 6 of us total at the tournament from the HEMA Society. Ray and I competed in Sabre on Friday. Myself and 4 of the other Grand Rapids HEMA Society members competed in Longsword on Saturday. And then Sunday, today, Ray and I went home. They're actually probably wrapping it up right about now, too.
Actually.
So, good luck out there, guys. The first thing, and probably the best that we could talk about, would be the Sabre Tournament, because that's what a lot of these guys know, because we had our drive up video where we discussed a lot of topics, and now we're going to talk about our thoughts about after the tournament. So, tournament, how did it go? What were your thoughts on it?
Well, being my first tournament, it was quite intensive in that I had a lot of adrenaline running through my body when I was competing on that day, and not just when I was fighting, but like through the whole thing. It was like, compared to sitting around the next day watching everyone compete, it was just, you don't realize how much you're feeling everything. But I loved it. I certainly learned a lot about my own fencing, and I'm going to change a lot of my fencing when I get back to fight with other people. I didn't do too great, but it's my first tournament. That's where I go.
Yeah, it's fine. Not a lot of people didn't do too great, and that's normal. And that's the other thing too, where like, just because you don't do great in a tournament doesn't mean you aren't great at HEMA. And I think that's a point that needs to be promoted a lot more.
Personally, I kept telling people this, but I think it's really cool to know, is that with all that adrenaline running through your body, and time slows down, because it really does, you become so much more aware of everything you're doing, with the good and the bad. I feel like I learned so much more with the tournament fighting because of that literal physical component than compared to like sparring with people in Grand Rapids.
Right.
You're so much more relaxed. You just kind of, you're just going at it. No one's watching. It's just you and someone else fighting. It's so literally a different feeling in your body.
Right, it's true. And Rob is another guy from Grand Rapids HEMA, and we were talking about his role or his thoughts about the longsword fighting, and he described it as tunnel vision when you're up there. And it's definitely like that. You're no longer in a tournament, with the judges and all that. You see nothing but you and the sword, the enemy sword, or opponent's sword. And which is cool, which is awesome, and usually is very disappointed, because when that sword is like right here on your mask and your sword's out here, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
I did I did worse than I thought I would do in the Sabre tournament. I had a lot of hope in the Sabre. I really want Sabre to be my main primary weapon. But I only won 1 match in the eliminations. So I got to the 2nd tier, and then I lost. Very good guy. I'm sure we're going to go over some of the great fighters there. Yes. I lost to Arian. Oh my gosh. Awesome fighter. But, so we didn't think either of us did very well, so we went and we walked around the Arnold Fitness Convention, which was an experience.
Yeah, wow.
Oh my god. I'm sure we'll talk about that too, but let's get the HEMA tournament stories taken care of. So we came back just like, we should probably grab our stuff, see if there's a ceremony or finals or something like that. We walk in, and everyone's in their full gear lined up, and they're like, has anyone seen Jerry Berg? And I'm like, it's me right here. Get your coat on. I'm like, am I fighting? They said, no, you're getting your medal. It's the award ceremony. I'm like, what? I'm getting a medal? So apparently at the Arnold Fencing Classic, the top 8 fighters of a tournament each get a medal. Top 8, which is, it's just nice, I guess. I think it's more like the more winners we have, the more this tournament will be promoted. I got a very cool medal for it. It's packed away in the back.
But yeah, it's an awesome medal.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Big.
It's really big. It's beautiful.
Engraved with my place. It doesn't have my name on it. I was disappointed in that, but whatever. But it has a cool design on it. Man, it's cool.
Yes.
It has all 6 of the weapons that were being fought with, which were the 3 sport fencing. You have the epee, sport saber, and foil. And then the 3 HEMA weapons, which are rapier, longsword, and military saber. So that's what we got on the medal, which was really cool. So that came as a surprise. I don't think I deserved the medal. I mean, I got in 7th place out of 16 fighters. So that would imply that 8 of all the competitors for Sabre got a medal. Like half of all the competitors. So, oh well. Still, it's cool, and I like to see that it is a Sabre exclusive tournament. Not mixed one-handed, but Sabre exclusive.
Although there was a broadsword.
There was a broadsword.
That I did fight, and wow, it hit hard.
That was a heavy boy.
Like, it didn't, when you held it, it didn't feel heavy. It was a Hanwei. It did not feel heavy, but when it hits, yeah, it hit hard.
He said it was an old Hanwei. I didn't even know Hanwei made old fencing swords. Oh well, cool. So yeah, that was fun. A lot of great people. I'm gonna start doing Sabre a lot more. I really like it. And then the next day was longsword. By the way, we Ubered there the next day, which was great, carrying all our longswords into the Uber. And the guy was super nice and friendly, and he was just like, what you got there, boy?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Man, so many, that was my first time using Uber, and man, so many retired men that are just so friendly.
Oh my God, yeah.
Wow.
They're just so happy to be driving us around town.
They're just happy to be doing something or something.
I don't know, they're very nice.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Uber's a lifesaver. So I gotta put my fries down. I'm like getting distracted. My train of thought is getting distracted by more cheese.
So the longsword tournament.
The longsword tournament. The Sabre tournament had 16 people. The longsword tournament had like 35 people. 35 people. And I want to say everyone from the Grand Rapids HEMA Society fought immensely well. Like, with a lot of great sportsmanship on our part. I noticed that.
Sure.
So that was great. But it caused a lot more problems. I noticed a lot more problems with, I don't want to say problems, things about the tournament, the way that it ran, that I would wish to change. Before I forget, I got in 23rd place, 23rd out of 35. So actually better than I thought I would do with longsword. But man, my gloves were hurting me.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing too. You can put yourself to the test, but you also put your gear to the test in tournaments.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow.
I was fighting with the name and hoof gauntlets, and just I can't do anything with them. It's like I have to grip my sword like vice grip. Which was cool because we were fighting. Do you remember the guy who did Fiore or Vadi? I
don't think so.
You remember his name?
No. I don't know.
Colin, I think.
I have so many people what they study and they just all mixed together. The fact that I can remember anyone's name is enough of a miracle.
He was the guy with the Aurus or Aurelius sword.
Oh yeah.
That one's cool. It was definitely Colin or something like that. In any case, he did the cliche, not cliche. I like to think it's overdone. the disarm technique in Fury, where you cross blades, get your pommel down between their hands and try to yank it out. But because the only way for me to fight with my name and hoof is to grip the sword so tight, he couldn't rip the sword out of my hands because I was gripping it so tight.
And then he just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, he got the point for that one anyway, but I don't know, I think it was doubles, but oh well, I've got it recorded. He beat me. I was beating him by 1 point for most of that match, and then he got a 2-point hit like 3 seconds before the match ended. And I saw there was 3 seconds left to go, and I needed to go for a 2-point hit, so the second they said fence, I just ran up and just whack and tried to get him, but he died 1-point shot and done.
And then do sudden death.
Sudden death. Did they call it sudden death?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's great.
I like that.
That was one thing I'd like to point out as being something that I thought was great. In that with sudden death, it's not just. They said specifically, they made very clear it had to be a clean hit to win.
A clean hit.
People talked about doubles and tournaments and stuff, and that just happens. But I think that's really awesome.
And this tournament was really promoting, what do you call it? Like skill. No, I don't want to say good sportsmanship. In fact, I saw
swordsmanship.
Swordsmanship. Yes, good skill, good swordsmanship. Yes.
Definitely skill.
They did that, and that was really good. I like that, especially with the head and the body being worth the same value, which was good because in a lot of other tournaments I expect you to see a lot of high Zwerkhaus and all that stuff, just going for the head, and that's it. But in this one there was a lot more techniques, a lot more lunges that I saw, which were good.
Yeah,
this tournament was fantastic. Like the way, not just it was a good tournament. I mean it was, but I mean the way that it ran was a very good tournament, because first of all, they explained it to us very clearly. So if any of the people watching this are worried about their first tournament, it was very well laid out. Don't do this.
Yep.
Lots of fun. There were a lot of individual people too. Like one person from one club with no other people watching. Like a lot of people that you can like friend up with.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, really, people are very friendly there.
They were very friendly. Oh my gosh, there wasn't a single HEMA fighter where I thought like, oh man, that guy's a jerk.
Yeah, exactly, right.
None of them. They were all great people.
And at least in Michigan, or maybe just Midwest, like I've never encountered that as a problem where I've met people that are like, yeah, that guy's just kind of rude to everyone. Like people are just very friendly. I feel like that would be different if I did sport fencing, but I don't know.
Sport fencing was, oh my god, so the entire time.
Yeah, we shared a room.
We shared a room with the sport fencers. And sport fencers have this, like, not every sport fencer. Apparently it's like a common trend where 2 or 3 people do it. If they get a hit, they shriek like a freaking banshee.
Yeah, we cannot express, like, this is like a guttural, like it sounds like they're screaming as... It's not just like loud, it's like their whole body is making this sound out of their gullet.
I was talking with one of the security guards today when I was leaving the room because someone was shrieking when he left. It sounds like they just woke up and someone's pulling their intestines out.
Yeah. It does sound like they're being hurt.
They're being like tortured, and it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah. So definitely obnoxious.
Yeah.
Because you can yell and acknowledge a point without yelling the way they do. I will say that about sport fencing. Tone it down.
Yeah, please. Oh my god, you guys don't need to do that. I never thought that I would believe that HEMA was the calmer of the combat groups.
Yeah, like, I mean the only people yelling were the judges,
And they were doing that on purpose. Like, you'd have to.
Yeah.
That was. There's a couple. I'm sure I've recorded almost every saber fight, and I recorded a ton of longsword fights, and I'm sure there's a ton of them where just like you can see me like ready to go, and all of a sudden you hear, and I'm like,
yeah, you'll hear it for yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah, oh my god.
Although
insane.
On the opposite corner of that, well, to offset each other, importantly, the sport fencers can see us. What we're doing, and they can see there's an alternative. Like there's something that's not just a sport that's trying to do something more.
I lost connection. Damn, there's no internet out here. Wait, we might be back. If there's ever an issue, like you can hear us but you can't see us, which seems to be common, just drop a comment so we know it. We know that there's a problem.
Is the person watching anyone we know?
I can't see who. They need to comment before I can see.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. I mean, I posted it. It could be one of my fans. That's kind of cool too.
Right.
Followers. Fans. What was I saying? Oh, they came back today. They were in the audience today watching the rapier fight. So that was pretty cool. I was glad to see that.
Yeah, like one of the guys came over and he was for fella, and he was saying he kept during the Sabre Tournament. He looked at our stuff and he's like, "The thing, yes, that's the real thing." And I'm like, I didn't want to say like, yeah, we're doing, I didn't want to.
We're doing the real one. They're doing the fake one.
Right. Yeah. I didn't want to go along with that, but I really appreciated that he was modest enough to be like, you guys are doing something a little more serious.
Yeah.
I think that's really respectful.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Yeah. That's the kind of attitude I appreciate.
By the way, we saw Arnold.
Oh God, we saw
Arnold Schwarzenegger. that was pretty cool. The poor guy was just kind of like, man, I want to see him back in the 80s. I don't want to see 2010 Arnold.
He's got some grays on him.
He's got some gray and he's got some wrinkles, and he was just a happy guy, just happy to be there. I think his speech was a little rehearsed.
Well, it's the Arnold Fencing Classic has been going on for like they said 17 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time to give this. How many different versions of "good job, keep it up" can you say? I don't blame him.
Yeah.
But then, I won't say anything about what else he said, but we'll have a video of it, right?
We have a video of it. We'll probably post the video. It'll probably get taken down or something. I don't know.
Well, maybe.
I'll post it.
Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Oh. Are you talking about the movie thing or the characters thing?
The movie thing.
The movie thing. Okay, yeah.
That's wild.
That was pretty cool. But there was also a bunch of like Star Wars characters like in costume and all that, right?
Yes.
Watching there because there was apparently lightsaber combat.
Yes.
Theoretically, I didn't see it.
Right. I didn't see anyone. But I'm also Arnold watched a presentation of a Shaska dance sword thing. Shaska sword.
Shaska.
For those of you who don't know, a Shaska is basically it's a one-handed cut-thrust sword.
With no crossguard.
Yeah, with no crossguard.
Like a saber without a guard.
Yeah. It looks kind of like the handle to me, like in that it's no crossguard and there's nothing. Literally, it's not even like the round part of a katana, like literally nothing there. It kind of reminds me of like a Yatagan a little bit.
And they did a little dance demonstration of it for him. I personally don't like Shashkas.
I don't even think it's Shashkas, but that to me their presentation was weird because it was a dance.
It was a dance, yeah.
But it was just weird that was with fencing. I mean, that to me that didn't just because it's a sword doesn't mean it has anything to do with fencing.
Yes, exactly. I go to Renaissance fairs a lot because my reenactment group gets hired there for them, and we see all these belly dancers. They're dancing with like big old curved swords, and it's like that doesn't belong in HEMA, just like this doesn't belong in HEMA. They're not. It's not. There's a difference between historical and traditional. Like the dance and their costume, historical. Their dance and their costume were traditional.
Right.
Good morning, Ronnie. How are you guys?
Where is it morning?
Where is it morning? Yeah, it's like 1 o'clock. Where are you from?
No, it's actually a little after 12.
Oh, it's a little after 12.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
In this car.
Cool. We were just talking about Shashkas and how we see. Okay, so here's the thing: Shashkas can be in HEMA. They are a historical weapon.
Can and should be.
My orphans are not happy now, brother. I'm so sorry. Why are your orphans not happy?
That's kind of egg.
It's kind of eerie.
Do they not like Shashkas too?
Do they not like Shashkas? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Faster. South India. Well, good on you, Ronnie.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool. We got a guy watching us from South India. How cool is that?
So dang cool.
You know what? While we've got him here, let's talk about Indian weaponry.
We're gone.
William Woodward. Hey. The Confederate Party. Wait. No! It disappeared on me.
No.
Hold on. How do I... The only martial art in the world I'd give up all other styles, study, and master. Is that the one with the Umuri whip sword?
What about it?
He was talking about a style of martial arts that he wanted he would give up on all other styles of martial arts to learn and master this one, which is pretty cool. You're talking about the if it's just disconnected from the chat. There it is. The Urumi, the whip sword. Haha, welcome back. That's another thing, kind of like the Shashka, to be honest, because it's a lot of show, that one, because you do a lot of spinning and they hang little like balloons or sacks or something.
And also at the same, importantly as well, as far as a martial art, it's in the realm of reconstructive archaeology.
Oh, like because they don't have books or anything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they have anything specifically like a manual on how to use it. Just like the Shashka, right? I don't think there are any manuals that specifically.
Not that I'm aware of. I wouldn't doubt it though, because it's a pretty modern one.
Well, right. You think so? Yeah, I've never seen anything. I've heard, because it's an old. The Shashka's an old weapon. It's been used in modern times, but it goes back a long time.
What did I tell you was the most common question I get asked when doing these live videos? When are you going to do more Aztec videos?
Oh, yeah.
I got to ask it again. Hey, I promise you, I'm going to be doing... I love Aztec stuff. I love it. I will be doing more Aztec videos. I promise. I got burned out on the Aztec stuff when I made the videos before and I wanted to make sure I'm doing it properly. So I want to make sure I'm studying and getting it right the first time. And I plan on making more Aztec videos this summer. More Macana, Macuhuitl, and probably Chamali the video, which will be cool. Speaking of our experimental archaeology realm, probably finished talking about the Arnold too.
Yeah.
Do you have any other discussion topics on? We just kind of tore apart the whip sword, and that was. Any other final thoughts on Indian weaponry?
Well, there's a lot I can say about the Towar. I don't know a lot about it, but it's a very cool sword, first of all, and also I'd like to learn more about it. But most of what we know about it, as far as written sources, comes from the British writing about it. It's one of those things where, as far as I know, I can't read Hindu, Hindi, I should say, or anything like that. So I couldn't find any sources about it. But yeah, very sharp swords.
Very cool. So tournament.
Yes.
So it was a great tournament, a fantastic tournament. The way it ran was they first put everyone Urumi. Thank you. The way it went down is they put everyone into pools. So it was about 5 or 6 people to a pool. Everyone in that pool fought everyone in that pool. So everyone fought at least 5 or 6 times. And from the scores that you got in that pool, I think it was the scores, not the wins, but the points you got, they organized it into a bracket. Now the bracket was single elimination.
Yes.
I heard a lot of people didn't like single elimination because if you lose, especially if you lose in the first round, you're out.
Yeah.
You're done.
So even the best fighters can lose one fight and then they're done.
Yeah.
So it's a mixed bag, but at the same time, we're trying to represent a historical martial art, right? And how many second chances do you get?
That's a good point.
So at the same time, it's like, yeah, but life isn't fair, But it doesn't mean it has to be that way. But you're never gonna find a perfect balance.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I gotcha. So that was neat. It had the single elimination. It was part of the larger Arnold Fencing Classic, which was part of the larger Arnold Fitness Convention, which had all sorts of different sports.
Oh yeah. Wow.
We saw foosball and ping pong and pole fitness, which was phenomenal, by the way, just terrifying.
Also, of course, a lot of weightlifting stuff.
Weightlifting, bodybuilders everywhere.
Not just like one, like there were multiple areas where they were doing the same sport.
Yeah.
Like that, like benches. There were multiple benches around the convention. There were a bunch of people doing like deadlifts and stuff. A lot of lifting.
Oh, we saw grappling and Ninja Warrior.
Yes, no, Ninja Warrior, that was cool.
Ninja Warrior was
good.
That was crazy.
Because they clearly it was a group. It's a part of Ohio Move or something.
Ohio Movement. Something.
Yeah, so clearly they practiced that. It's kind of boring to watch because most of the time they were just tired, laying on top of each other, trying to like grabbing onto their shirts and like pulling. I mean, not much is really happening most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird to me that like I didn't even understand how you win because like it's not just like getting him on the ground because there was one guy who
that guy the other guy down.
Yeah, well, maybe it's like like when you certain things.
They did.
Someone
walk past and give us their protein.
Uh-huh.
Their protein bars, protein shakes, protein meats, protein puffs. There was like little cheese puffs that were protein.
That was weird.
Protein vodka.
Yeah,
Didn't get any samples.
Vodka.
Didn't get any samples of protein vodka.
Also, even stuff for women that we didn't try.
Oh, I was.
Friday.
Oh, we're back.
Thursday.
Guys, before it breaks out again, we're going through rural Ohio and there's no reception out here, and I didn't expect.
Someone didn't take their blankets. That's
No, don't. No, no, none of that. Oh God. So protein everywhere. Okay, we're back on the air, live with no one watching us. So sweet. I think we're sticking at 23 until we hit 96.
we're going until 15 to. Oh wait.
It's so bad.
Show
If we cut out, we'll be right back as soon as we can. I promise. It happens. We didn't realize we'd be going through rural Ohio while we were doing the stream. Expo Center was awesome. Huge jab to the heart in my self-esteem looking at all these beautiful people.
There were some beautiful people.
There were some beautiful people walking around there, and I'm like...
Mostly I'm talking about the beautiful women.
Yes, I can respect the guys for doing that,
Oh,
something
yeah.
that I definitely didn't. Not at all. But I was just more like, this is...
But I'll be honest, those women who, they look nice, they are quite the basic type. Basic ladies.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you, yeah, definitely.
I mean, I can see what you're getting at. I did
Yeah.
I definitely, I don't know if I would call them basic though, because I know what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at.
Them, so maybe they're not, but
I saw some short hair. And what more do you want? This is getting off topic. Let's reel it in. Let's talk about swords a bit here.
Means?
Basic bitch, like white long hair.
Well, it doesn't have to, it's just basically, it's like girls who just fall into like popular trends, basically. Like girls who wear Uggs and like Starbucks is like a...
Hey, look, if I had a body like theirs, I would be wearing leggings every day, okay? I'm just saying. Show off what you got.
Yeah, it's not any one specific type of...
Okay, all right.
But
we have different terms for basic, but that makes a lot of sense. I gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, but I mean, if they're into a sport, there were so many different sports or fitness things there. I don't know if I'd call that a basic thing. I don't know. Anyway, swords. Let's talk about swords.
Wow.
Swords. So, one thing I did like about the longsword tournament, I don't miss this either, but I was expecting a lot more hand shots and snipe shots that you see at like Long Point. Long Point, that's the one in Europe.
That's swordfish.
Swordfish. You see a swordfish, a lot of them.
Yes.
But the guys there were doing legit swings, the circles and the mullinets and all that stuff.
People in our group too.
Yeah, that was great. I like that.
Rob gave so many, turned his sword so many times, and he admitted he actually overdid it sometimes.
He did, yeah.
There was one fight I remember in particular that he did 3 in a row, and each of them were parried. But that's the weird thing about tournaments too. You only can do what you know.
That's right.
When you have a certain thing in your muscle memory, and that's what you're gonna do. And sometimes you just keep doing it, even if it's not working. That's what you know. That's what your body's gonna do. That's the way it is.
There were so many. It was great. There was just great fighters. I like that.
Yes.
Oh, that we talked about it earlier in the video, but I want to bring it up again. What happened? But he charged in and got his pommel in between my wrists. I didn't lose my sword like he was hoping. I just gripped it tighter.
Yeah.
But he did it, and it was just like, this is the stuff I love. This is the kind of clashing of masters and styles.
One guy was definitely in that Zornhau Meyer guard during one of the fights. Like, he didn't do it all the time, but in one specific fight with a person, he kept going back to the super, the
Meyer Zornhau, yeah, the Meyer Zornhau
from the picture, like, and it was awesome because he was sitting there waiting, and it worked in that, like, the other fighter like didn't come closer because he's like, oh shit, he's gonna, if I get any closer, he's gonna throw the Zornhau at me, and I'm probably not gonna be able to defend myself.
I'm gonna get Zorned.
Yeah, I'll get Zorned.
That's cool, and it's and especially because one thing that you can't do too well in HEMA is recreate fear.
Yes.
We talked about that
Absolutely.
earlier. You cannot be worried for your life as much as they would have back then.
Yes.
But with HEMA tournaments, with tournaments specifically, you're going for the win. I mean, this is your reputation.
Yeah.
While it's not the same as losing your life, the reactions can be similar.
Yes.
Like if someone's in the Zornhau, and you're just practicing with them, you'll go for a guard that'll block it, or you'll prepare for it.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that, there's that little bit in the back of your head. If you're doing that in a tournament, there's a little bit in the back of your head that goes, I don't want to risk it against this Zornhau. I want to just play it safe. And that's similar reaction to, I don't want to go against the Zornhau because he might cut me in two.
Yes. See, that is exactly the kind of thing where, like, in a real fight, you're probably going to be cautious. You're not going to be running in there. That's where the whole discussion of sport versus.
We saw the pooled matches. We didn't see the elimination matches. One guy, and you pointed this out like instantly. He was using a Meyer rapier technique, and I tried to like pay attention because all the other guys were doing their little like parry with the dagger and poke and all that kind of SCA looking stuff. But this guy was doing some cool stuff.
And actually, he told me he's only done rapier for a month, and he did rapier and dagger for a week.
Oh, well,
so
all right.
It's very new to it, but it's very clear that he fights Meyer. He fights a lot of Dulsac, and he does a lot of Meyer longsword.
He had some guards. I can't really do it on the video, but like if this hand were like way up above my head, pointing downward.
Yeah, it was. It's in a Meyer's rapier side sword. That's the ox and the high guard he was using.
And it just you could tell.
Cool.
You could tell.
The one thing though is that he was trying to fight like Meyer, but with the rules of the tournament, he was limited.
Yes.
Because
let's talk about that. I mentioned the problems with the tournament. Let's start with that one.
Right.
And by the way, before you worry if anyone's watching this, the tournament, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Any of these little problems are literally either just us nitpicking or just having a difference in philosophy, which are totally fine.
Or it's just meant to be constructive.
Yeah, meant to be
constructive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or at least, at the very least, so we can just be aware of where our, what is going on, as opposed to just be like, there's one right way to do everything,
Yeah.
So, like with the rules of the rapier tournament, like with everything else, with a thrust to the armor, to the limbs, it's 1 point. To the body or head, it's 2 points. But the big difference is when it comes to cuts. So with cuts, only percussive cuts to the head with a long edge count, and push and draw cuts only count against the hand or forearm and head or neck. And the thing is with that Meyer is that there's a lot of cutting. And he was doing it very well, and if he was able to cut against arms and the body with the rapier, he would have been able to score more points. But he got, the main thing is I saw he'd go in to throw a cut and it hit the arm, and then he just didn't throw it into a thrust.
And it wouldn't count it because it, yeah.
Exactly, and that's just the way the rules. I mean, it's not like, we were tricked or anything. But just where, like, the fighting style doesn't always coincide. But as we were saying, though, those rules come because most of the people were not using Meyer rapiers.
Yes.
Most of the people were using rapiers that were clearly
big
later
old,
period.
long.
Very thin blades that are pretty much entirely for thrusting.
Yep.
So that it makes sense.
Yeah. And that kind of leads back into mixed single hand too. Because a lot of tournaments are just like, screw it, we've got more long swordsmen than any other style together. Let's just throw all the one-handed ones together. So you have rapierists and side swordists and sabers, sables. all trying to fight together, and their schools and their eras are completely different.
Yeah.
So I think that's the next step. Like, HEMA needs to have a side sword tournament where the length of the one-handed weapon is limited. Like, you can't get extra long, but you can do cuts. Whereas rapier, you can get as long as you want, but you can't do cuts. You know, does that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
That would be cool. I mean, it'd be hard because, like, I mean, with this rapier tournament, there was like 20-something people. You know, it's not, I don't know if it's the biggest, but it's a pretty big tournament, certainly for the Midwest. And, you know, when you can only get that many people for a tournament, you know, out of the whole couple of states around it, you kind of need to loosen the restrictions at least a little bit.
Right.
Just to have people. You know, HEMA isn't so big yet.
One other thing, another bad topic that we talked about that I've forgotten it like 2 or 3 times. So I want to say it now before I forget. The word that they used for stopping the match, you know, if a point was scored and you need to say a word to get the fighters to stop, the word that they were using was break. And I have problems with that. And I wouldn't have had problems with it if I hadn't seen it. But they would call break, the judge or the marshal or whatever word you want to say, they called break, and the fighters wouldn't hear them. They would keep fighting, so they had to go break, 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 break to kind of hear it. I think phonetically, the problem with break, speaking break, is that you can't get very loud with it. I mean, you can break, you know, but as opposed to more common words like hold or halt, they have that kind of throaty,
Yeah, the huh sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the weird thing. I feel like there were some judges that were saying hold at some point.
They were, yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah. And also, I think it's just, even in this sense of like, even if it wasn't more, even if it wasn't better to say hold, which I think it probably is, most people can just recognize what that means. And
Like, what do you put your sword down, grab a juice box, like,
let's go stay. That's another Hamilton song.
We've been quoting Hamilton all weekend.
I have at least.
You have. I've been going, yep.
I've been singing it. Yeah, that's, you know, there's a lot of things in HEMA that probably should never be universal, but I think language should be pretty standard.
Yeah.
At least to an extent.
Yeah.
When it comes to tournaments.
What was another issue? I mean, we talked about the elimination. I don't know if that would be an issue. Oh, I remember.
Sportiness?
Sporty. What else are you gonna do? That's a lot. Let me do this quick one beforehand.
Okay.
Because sportiness will lead into a big old discussion like it did last time. Judges. They had 2 main judges because there were 2 pits, and then each pit or arena, ring, whatever you want to call it, had 2 other kind of demi-judges with the flags. They would raise the flag based on the color they thought they saw. But the judges with the flags were just drawn from the pools of other fighters. And it just seemed a little like, is there going to be a conflict of interest if I get one of my students? I mean,
Potentially.
But the other thing is there was no uniformity to the judging. I mean, I can't tell you how many times one person raised the red flag, the other person raised the blue flag, and the judge made an entirely different call from what either of them saw.
Yes.
It's just, there was no consistency with the judging.
Yeah, and that guy, I guess that just gets into how hard it is to make a unified system for HEMA. It's really hard to judge and see everything, especially if we don't have slow motion cameras to refer to.
Yeah.
But like with the main judge, what did you say his name was? Mark?
Matt.
Well,
no, the main judge.
With the glasses.
The glasses, that was Matt.
Matt, probably not watching this, but you are an excellent judge, and as much as like, it was weird sometimes where the 2 demi judges would disagree and then the main judge would just disregard. I really appreciated his judgment. I think he was almost always, like 95% of the time, I agreed with everything he said, and he wasn't afraid to sometimes be like, I saw this and they should get this point, because I think he just has good judgment. However, can we make that the standard? Probably not, because not everyone is going to have this good judgment. We can't rely on that for everyone. That's kind of the hard part of it. Like, where do we find the fine line? Because between giving one person authority over everyone else, you know, otherwise.
Yeah.
That's not going to have a simple answer.
So
really.
yeah, it doesn't. I was just bitching about it.
Yeah.
But the next one was sportiness. Sportiness. About that. And to be honest, I didn't have
at the one that they do control the person's sword, which they were all actually numbed like that, and that was beautiful because you're controlling the opponent's blade. But most of them would just come without already having established a bind and just going for the thrust and going to hit first, and then maybe bind afterwards. But a lot of it should be the thing that I've seen a lot. And then the second thing is kind of a little thing you might not notice as much, but lunging is very absent for most of rapier fencing tournaments, and the way you can tell, it's a little thing, but look at the back foot of the person, and you can see, does their foot face forward? If it's forward, they're probably going to be a little more sporty and just thrusting first with their arm, because they're looking to just run at forward. It's more likely, I think, that they're actually going to step with a lunge and get their whole body to thrust that blade into that opponent's body.
Oh.
And it's a little more simple.
I wanted to. There wasn't anything especially bad. We had a lot of fun there. Fought a lot of good people.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the fighters that were there. That was the fun part.
Yes.
That was really fun. Especially us coming from Grand Rapids, like the most isolated club in the world. Like,
at least we feel like it.
We feel like it. I know we're not actually, but just we don't get out more. We all learned from the same area. We'll occasionally go out and learn from other groups in the area, but that that are within like an hour driving distance. But we don't get to see like other groups, like the Vadi or the Capoferra, or the stuff that we haven't even touched. We don't get to see it that often. So that was some cool stuff. Just kick my butt in Sabre. I'll be uploading the videos later. I fought him twice, once in the pool, once in elimination, and he just wiped the floor with me.
He found the style of Verdelli, and he's specifically a dueling form of Sabre, and it's extremely effective, and he executed it so well and so fast. Sometimes thing again, because then if you do that, then they see that you adjust, and they're just going to do something different.
Yeah. Huh.
That's like that mental game of chess that's going on.
I like that mental game of chess. I did not do that very well when we were fighting. I did not play chess in the match. I should have, but I didn't. I really like Sabre. I'm going to bring that and make that my main. We're going to talk, what are some of the other good fighters that we saw out there?
Well, I was talking about Ryan Coker. He's a guy about our age. I mean, he's in his 20s, I think. But he was just a great mire fighter.
Oh, him.
I just like pointing him out because, and I told him this, I wanted him to be aware. When I saw him first fight Longsword, I thought that guy practices mire. That is what I saw in his fighting. And he is this, like, him and Adam Franti are the only two people I've ever seen just fight, and I knew exactly what style they fight in. I just knew exactly what they were, not necessarily exactly what they were doing, but I knew what they were fighting. And it looked great. And I want to bring attention to people like that, who are so dedicated to a master or a book, and then just, they do that.
And we were talking about that. That's what we want to see more of.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to see people study one particular man. We have no reception.
No reception.
No reception.
Cut me off, and then you're just gonna.
And he's gonna go
the
slow.
Same speed as me.
Good job. Good job, SUV.
Slow down. Let you go, man. I'm gonna let you go, man.
I want to do it. Oh, Cam too. We already gave him a shout out.
Yes.
But Cam fought in the rapier and dagger tournament with double daggers. Like, how cool is that? That's a good point.
Collecting our thoughts, organizing them in verbal form.
All right, how about things to bring back?
Yes.
Things to bring back. There are a lot of things to bring back.
A lot of things. You go first.
I definitely personally want to improve my Sabre a lot, and I want to be able to choose a manual And when someone asks, what do you teach from, or what do you learn from, or what do you fight with, or what manual do you use, I want to be able to say, this is what I do. Instead of right now, I'm like, oh, I picked up a bit of Hutton, and I picked up a bit of the War. What one do you follow? And I'm like, well, a little bit of Stevens and a little bit of Partagon, and a little, I want to pick one and be like, this one's I fight. This is how I fight. But I haven't found that manual yet. And then also just the level of intensity for steel combat. That shocked me, how intense steel combat was in a tournament setting. Apparently we've got directional change coming up. What about you? What are your thoughts on
yeah, definitely going to basically just touching on like the intensity of steel combat. I'm not gonna be as afraid to hold back anymore.
Yes.
The thing is with our club is that because we're still, people are like, there's still plenty of people that don't have full kit, and it's not something to blame them for, but when you can be in a tournament and you don't have to hold back for safety, you can just hit them. Not as hard as you can, that's never what you want to do, but when you could just smack them over the head because they left themselves open and you can just wail on them, it feels so good, and that's how we should be fighting.
Yes.
That's what leads to so much, kind of, but, basically, where you're like, oh, I kind of grazed you, I'll count that, whatever. It has to be a
yes
to count. And also just going to hit people where they're open. It doesn't have to, I don't have to know a specific technique to, they're available.
I saw some
as much, then that's obviously easier. But doesn't mean to not be cautious and to parry other attacks. But also, we're gonna need it. The problem is, of course, we still don't have really a space, but we need to drill. We need to just drill stuff and drill stuff and drill stuff until we're sick of it doing it, and then we need to keep doing it.
Right.
As long as we're doing it right and we're building a habit, it doesn't matter what we're doing. As long as we're doing it right and doing it over and over again until we can do it without thinking about it. That's the important thing. It has to be muscle memory. Otherwise, in tournaments, you'll never be able to pull it off.
Right.
Or at least not regularly.
And see, that's something I didn't want to do in my classes because I've got limited time.
Yes.
And I want to teach the techniques.
Exactly, right.
If I take the time away from techniques and sparring to do drills, we're not going to have enough time to do anything well.
Right.
So we as a club need to get together outside of the classes.
Charging
dues or becoming a professional club with our meeting next week.
But hopefully, daylight savings, and it's starting to kind of clear up. We'll start meeting a little bit.
Yeah. Once the weather warms up, we've got a whole spring and summer and fall to be fighting outside in.
Yep. Like even from very, very small clubs, rent out spaces. I wonder if they're paying. Why didn't we ask people about that?
Oh crap! I completely forgot to ask people about how their club runs. Damn it! That's like one of the most important things. We're too big. It's our first tournament. We can't be blamed for that.
We're all frazzled.
Yeah, but we could have done that. I'm sure there's tons of clubs out there that'll be more than happy to help us out.
Right. Well, we have a pretty good system figured out that we're gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. So cool. So what about we could answer some of the questions.
Oh, sure.
So all right, we
take a break from thinking about the tournament.
Take a break from the tournament. Maybe return to it after the questions. So we asked some of our fans to give us some questions to talk about, and one of the ones that I think we really wanted to jump on was, quote unquote, what is the most versatile weapon? And
this was gonna steal Matt Easton's word, but it's such a good word.
But I want to flip it. He says most versatile, meaning any situation.
Exactly.
So we don't know. Like if someone said there is danger through this door, here is a table covered in weapons. What one will you pick?
So and it's melee weapons.
Melee, he clarified. What's the most versatile melee
and he didn't
weapon?
even specify swords. He says weapons.
Melee weapons, yeah.
Any
Yep.
melee weapon.
Any hand-to-hand weapon. So, I will let you go first because I have my weapon. I know what one I will pick.
Well, it's not a polearm, definitely. Because when I think about any context, we have to include fighting in tight spaces, fighting inside in buildings. And with a spear, even though in most situations it's the best weapon, or like a halberd, if you're fighting inside a room, you're just useless. And if a weapon is useless in any situation to me, then it's not a completely versatile. So I wouldn't say any polearm. So I'd probably have to go with like a sword. And it has to be a sword that can cut and thrust, but can also deal with potentially armor, but maybe not armor. Sometimes that's a lot of variety too, and that's important. Like it doesn't matter if you have an awesome falchion that someone in a full plate armor is either going to break or just bounce right off. So, and as far as making the most use out of the human body, one or two-handed, be hard to say. I would say either a long sword or a side sword.
I was gonna say, isn't the point of a long sword to be versatile?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like it is just the middle of everything.
Yeah, there's a variety of long swords too. Some are better doing with armors or cutting people than others. But I would say just that.
Well, what about details on a longsword? You can't just say longsword and be done with it.
No, I can't. I thought I could. But
No,
I will
I'm not
go. Wait. All right.
You don't need to be like pounds.
Okay, let's say 1,400 grams. Because I love grams for weight, by the way. I think it's so much more accurate and useful. So for length of blade, that way again, if you're fighting in tight quarters, it's long, but it's less likely to get caught in anything.
So you're thinking like a hand and a half sword?
No, definitely long sword, two-handed. As far as I'm talking about the blade itself.
Oh, the blade, okay.
Yeah. So the grip, I would say probably like, let's go with like a Renaissance grip, so a longer grip, because I think just for most situations it's better to have a longer grip. As far as blade typology, I'm trying to think of the oak shot stuff.
Type, I can't remember oak shot stuff off the top of my head.
I'm gonna say type 16, if I remember correctly. Because that's basically, it's good at cutting, but it's a narrow enough blade that it can thrust and it has a good point on it. And as far as cross section, I definitely say like put a folder on and have a what is it called? The kind of edge where it's not beveled.
Double taper?
It's a single angle. It's a single point. It's not a double folder.
Oh, a single taper edge. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Hologram. That's what it is. Hologram.
Oh, okay.
So that way it's great at cutting, but if you're using it against armor, then you're not going to use the edge anyway, so you shouldn't be. But you still have that point. And as far as cross-guard, I mean, it's just anything. Anything would be good there.
Really? What about like ring guards or figure eight? Like launch necks, kind of.
Yeah. I guess it wouldn't hurt.
Or a Swiss Sabre kind of card.
Yeah. Sure, let's put rings on it.
Sure, one. Throw it on there.
Throw it on there. That'll probably bring up the weight to about 1,500, but if it works. And as far as pommel, yeah, just anything you can bash people with. So, sure, for now, without thinking about it too much, I'll say a long sword.
I am going to go in the opposite direction, and I'm going to say it is a polearm.
Okay.
It is a polearm, and it will be a halberd.
Okay.
But it will be no taller than 6 feet.
no taller than 6 feet.
So I'm thinking like later 16th century halberd style. Lighter head, has the back is the bec de corbin, the little curvy thingy that you can use to hook or puncture people. Has a nice spear point, and then a nice forward facing with like the double hook, like the crescent kind of accent. Yep,
nice.
yep. I like that because it catches a lot more. You know, there's no sliding.
Absolutely.
That might be worse for armor, but I like to think that having something that's better against armor makes it much heavier, which would make it worse for other stuff. I feel like that is the kind that I'd want for anything, not what I would want for like fighting an armored knight.
At the very least, if you're fighting someone in armor, you can maybe use a hook to knock them down.
And you know, you bring up a good point about you have to take into account your location, your fight location.
Yes. Because that's really the only reason I didn't say pole armor, because if I'm in a room, if it was any taller than 6 feet, it would be like useless, basically, because it would get caught up on walls.
I was thinking that, but you can choke up on the halberd pretty good.
You can.
It's not the best way to fight with it, but you can.
That's true. It's still got a pointy bit you can poke people with.
Yeah. And so I think that makes it more helpful, especially if it has lingettes. I want to make sure it includes lingettes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like, you could block with the handle if you desperately needed to.
Right. You want all the luxury qualities to it.
Well, I don't know if I'd want that red puffy thing. A lot of the later 1500 ones have like red puffy balls. I don't want that.
Well, why not?
I mean, you gotta show off how fancy you are.
Yes. See, then it's good for a parade. So all situations.
You know, we're kind of forgetting about Asian weapons too, and other cultural weapons.
I mean, but you know, halberd is a halberd.
Like neither of us really mentioned an axe. Halberd had not counted. Like, and why would an axe not be the most versatile weapon?
Why would it not be? Well,
yeah.
It is a very versatile weapon. Here's the thing: it'd be a good answer. I could definitely, I could get behind that. But I mean, what kind of axe are you talking about?
I was thinking like tomahawk style.
Tomahawk. Well, then you're definitely losing reach. It's a huge thing. And unless you have a spike on there, you can't thrust much. Unless you, you could probably jab it. You can still jab someone with it, but it's not going to pierce him. And as far as also just having a big, it doesn't have hand protection. That's a big thing too. And as far as like dealing damage, it's super versatile because it's an axe, so it hits hard, and you can cut. But at the same time, you can hit someone hard and can't really grapple as much. You can kind of hook. But if you have just like one weapon to fight in most situations, I think a one-handed axe would not be the best way to go in most cases.
Alright.
But that would also, this could also depend a lot on your own personal skills too. Like if you're really good at grappling and wrestling, like a Dane axe would be awesome. Like super awesome, because then even if you're in tight spaces, you can shove them up against the wall, and you can knock down, and you can bash them out.
I don't think there's anything a Dane axe can do that a halberd can't do better.
Well, fair enough.
There's so many people out there that's like, you're a Vikings, Dane axes are the best. It's
I would only say because of the reach, but yeah, if you're talking about like a 6-foot halberd, and yeah, it's basically might as well just put extra stuff on it.
Or even the Sparth axe, if you look in like.
I've seen that Celtic fest, but tell me about it.
I think it's Irish, but it's like the axe part definitely comes up point at the top. It's picture an axe on a big pole with the top half of the axe pointing up.
Oh yes.
It's really cool.
It is.
So like the Dane axe is like, yeah, it's a big axe, but nothing about it is specialized unless you really want to talk about the few styles that have the point at the top. That was my rant about the Dane axe. It gets a lot more recognition than it deserves.
Well, it was used by the Huscarls and stuff, so that's cool too. But
theoretically,
theoretically,
we don't really know. No, we don't really know much about Vikings.
Well, no, not Vikings, but certainly, at least with Huscarls, we know because of Fire Tapestry.
Oh, Fire Tapestry, yeah.
We at least have that.
Okay.
That's the only evidence I know, but it's something.
So, all right, we got that question down.
Yeah.
What about? Okay, it's kind of been a joke among the Grand Rapids Human Society that people always ask Jerry, why don't you fight with sword and buckler? Why don't you fight with rapier? Why not? Why don't you do it? And I just think I did not get into swordsmanship because I had an interest in civilian dueling history. I had an interest in military history and political history and all that fun stuff. So I just don't have an interest in civilian style weapons. And so it's become a joke where, Jerry doesn't like civilian combat. So the question that was a joke that got asked was, why is civilian combat more superior than any military combat? I thought that was a hilarious joke.
Yeah.
That was a funny joke, but it does bring up a good point.
Good job, Trent.
Yeah, Trent, shout out to our guys down in Battle Creek who are trying to get a club going. Good luck to you.
Well, maybe we could talk about, reasons why one could be better than the other. I mean, it's not really a question of that, really, because context.
Context.
Because really, at the end of the day, even though nothing in martial arts can be perfect, it is developed for the area that it's going to be used in. Like military saber is usually pretty simple because it's meant to be taught to a lot of people very quickly, and it's not comprehensive. Not usually. It's not engaging
Yeah.
They're not going through every single situation you're going to come across. They teach you the guards, they teach you the cuts, they give you some examples, and kind of shove you on your way. Whereas go before that, Meyer is absolutely as close to comprehensive as you can be. Even he says I'm not teaching you literally everything, but I'm going to get pretty close. When you talk about civilian fighting and training, it's a lot different of a prerogative.
So you say, I can see that. Civilian combat would be more all-inclusive because a lot of the military ones were just made to pump out the troops as fast as you can.
Yeah. And also, I mean, when you're, absolutely.
Okay, I get that.
And even more than that, where it came from.
This is a hot topic, by the way, because the standard answer is actually not the true answer.
Yes.
So
I think I know what you're saying.
So the commonly said yet incorrect answer is incorrect. There were a lot of laws in 16th century Holy Roman Empire that said that peasants were not allowed to have weapons. But it was common at the time for everyone to have a knife. And the knife had a very specific way of being made, like a steak knife kind of looking thing with the handles being two pieces slapped onto the sides, as opposed to one single round grip that we see on swords nowadays. So I almost as bad. So the peasants would want swords, so they would just make really big knives to get around the laws, and thus the messer was born. That is incorrect.
I used to believe it.
We all did. Everyone used to believe that. It's cool. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's not true.
And it's funny,
And the 16th century German peasants didn't help. They loved the messer. They definitely had messers on their top favorite weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So, why? What do you know? Do you?
Well, I know why.
Do you know why? Do you know the way, my brother?
No.
I don't either.
Because that's not only is that something they didn't write about specifically, but also could there be one answer for why an entire weapon type developed? No. It's why did swords become a thing? It's that's out of any other weapon. It's there's not one answer for it because swords pop up around the entire planet, pretty much, across cultures that didn't interact with each other. But I think certainly just having that simple construction that's just very solid and sturdy, but also just probably easier than wrapping it and putting all the leather on it and stuff.
I have a theory about the Kriegsmesser. Theory.
Oh yeah. So about the Krieg.
About the Krieg, which is the two-handed version of the Messer.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a long, curved longsword. Where do we start with this? The Italian Renaissance, which is the beginnings of the Renaissance, started with humanism. The idea that humans are important, that life is important, no matter where you're born, kind of like the beginnings of equality. That humans are important, and are not just the random side effect of a deity. So that came around, and especially was heavy with the peasants, because the peasants felt distant from importance. In the feudal system, the serfs, the peasants, the lords, the king after death, that continued in heaven. So the higher you were on that social structure, the closer you were to heaven, or in life, and then after you died, it continued up as well. So the peasants were stuck. So then this idea comes around that everyone's important. Are you human? You're important. So these peasants start getting these ideas of importance. This Grand didn't have before. They didn't have it. So previously, yes, there were peasant rebellions all the time, but they were just kind of more mundane. Like, we want access to your hunting lands. Stop taking our food, kind of stuff like that. But then you get the late 1400s and 1500s, and you get peasant rebellions that get a bit more philosophical. They get a bit more, we deserve rights. You cannot just walk all over us, kind of thing. The German peasant rebellion is the big one of the 1520s. And so these peasants now, obviously they liked the Messer. They're going to war. Let's make a big Messer, because we need to counteract easily and quickly these heavy weapons that the nobles already have. Theory. It is counteracted because there are lots of Landsknecht images of them wielding Grossmessers, which are not, they're not peasants. Those are, they could be peasants. They could have been peasants. So
that's a
theory. Because
it's okay to have theory. I would, have to look into it more. But I think it's just one of those things that just makes sense.
I'm hoping that I want to know why we're not getting any viewers. I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna take a look at Facebook. If this closes the video, we'll be right back. So,
just look at as far as looking at the blade types. It's not so new of a thing, as far as just like big ones. It's just a simple, easy construction. I don't know. Some theories, but I don't know enough about Holy Roman law to say. Like,
I don't think anyone carrying a Kriegsmesser would be able to pass it off as a knife.
No. Well, that's the thing too. That's why it was so weird. Like, I'm sure we all thought, like, people just like saw it like, oh well, I guess you're within the law because it's technically a knife. Like medieval, like lawmen would have just.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
Yeah,
Lesser person.
Yeah, clever trickster.
Yeah.
I don't think that would have happened at all. That doesn't make any sense.
You did it.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do. Shucks.
Right. So, and as far as some messages are straight entirely, some have a little bit of a curve. A lot of people kind of as default, whenever curves are introduced into Europe, it's because of the East, which,
They had a big influence on some of them, but not all of them.
Sometimes that's true, but just to make a sword not be straight, that's not like a.
It's not like a mind-blowing concept. Like, we needed to be told to make this sword curved.
Yeah, right.
And I think it was the Scythians or Etruscans or something had a falch.
A falx?
Is it Falx? I was pronounced it Falch, like early Falchion. But it's basically a Kriegsmesser without a crossguard.
Oh, never mind.
And it's like Roman era, pre-Roman era.
You talking about the one that curves forward?
Dacian? Is it Dacian?
Yeah, the Dacian Falx?
I didn't think it curved forward, did it? I thought
the ones I've seen, at least, it's a forward curve. And
that's cool. Never mind then.
Yeah, and the theory behind it, at least from what I've heard, and people will of course not say it's a theory, but it's a theory, is that the idea is that you can throw it at the Roman shield and it can hit their heads above the shield because it's carried forward. I know there were definitely different forms of it, yeah. But some of the, at least what I've seen them depicted, they're curved forward like a hook, which sounds nasty because you can basically stab someone with a cut.
Yeah, that's right.
Like the African shotl.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Two-handed, or what
did they have?
God. Two-handed foxes.
Let me rant. Let me rant about the Khopesh.
Oh, go on.
Oh my God.
Right.
The Khopesh is very quickly becoming this bro weapon. Like, dude, you know what I like? I like the fucking Khopesh. Like it's just I think it was an episode of Forged in Fire where they were making a Khopesh, and someone made a two-handed Khopesh.
Oh.
And it's like,
I remember that.
No. So clearly my history brain had to go, is this true? Did they actually do this? Zero evidence of two-handed Khopesh.
Absolutely.
Zero evidence. In fact, the concept of a two-handed weapon at the time was likely non-existent because you would always be paired with a shield.
Yeah.
So
it's like with Viking combat, like, don't think of Viking combat without a shield.
It is not Viking combat without a shield.
Yeah.
It's not Aztec combat without a shield, except for like occasional.
Right.
Same with Vikings, occasional Dane axe and stuff like that. Not necessary to have a shield, but sword and shield goes together much more than we, even in HEMA, represent it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad there's not shield fighting much.
Yeah, I wish there were more.
I've seen video of one side sword in a Rotella tournament, but that's it.
Well, you know what? I bet no one would actually get the points. I bet the matches would last forever in side sword and Rotella.
Well, especially because what I thought is it would be so hard to judge.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
Cover everything up with the shield. Which, if you're doing it right, you're going to cover what you're doing with your shield. So that'd be hard. But you think Khopesh is becoming a bro weapon?
Not a bro weapon. I guess a trendy weapon. The Makana was a trendy weapon for a while. The Polish Sabla was a trendy weapon for a while. Yeah. You know, the HEMA has these fads that come and go so quickly. And I think Khopesh is actually kind of getting past it too.
Yeah.
Gladius had its time too, and it's just, and the Kukri, and it's just they come and go, and it's just like, well, ignore it for a little bit, and it's true. And now his thing is the Spadroon, and the Spadroon is kind of
how he's gotten to like it more. He used to hate Spadroons, and now they're okay.
So now
sometimes he says Spadroons don't always suck.
Okay.
Basically what he said.
Spadroons don't always suck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to actually hold an antique Spadroon once.
Oh, that's cool.
I was at the Celtic Fest, and a guy I was with, I don't know if it's true, but he said he got it from a guy, and the story with that sword is that it was picked up by a Russian officer at Waterloo. Apparently. It certainly looked period, but of course, there's no way to prove where it came from. But I was handling it. Wow, that was a neat sword. It was very pretty. It felt really neat, but I really don't feel like I would want to fight with it.
Yeah.
It just literally, it was very flexible because I wasn't bending it, but I was moving it a little bit, and I could feel it start bending. And it had more weight than I thought.
Oh.
But it really is just one of those swords where it's like, it's more about being able to wear and kind of defending yourself than actually, I want to really be able to hurt someone, I feel like. But I've never test cut it with a Spadroon before, so I can't say for sure, but I don't feel like I could cut or thrust very effectively with that weapon. Like at all. What do you think about Spadroons?
I don't want to jump on board with the whole. I think that we shouldn't put too much emphasis on them because.
Yeah, we shouldn't forget what their actual intention was.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the thing, they had swords that were really good swords at the same time as Spadroons. You know, They had the 1796, as I like bringing up.
Yep.
But just they had solid swords at the time, so it's not like they didn't know how to, it's not like they didn't know what they were.
What was the other weapon, or the other question? We covered 3 questions. There was a 4th question.
Oh, I didn't see it.
I'm gonna check out Facebook.
Where handshaking came from.
I think that's not true. I know we're going for. I don't think that's the truth behind it.
No, I mean, I'm not saying I know.
I know. I thought you were gonna go into the whole checking your arm for hidden daggers kind of thing.
No, I don't believe that.
Well, that's not.
It's one of those things again where it's like I haven't seen any evidence for it, and it doesn't really make sense to me.
Yep. They shook hands in Rome, ancient Rome, I believe.
Yeah.
Either that or they did the forearm grab.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But no, I don't know why.
I feel like in Europe, especially post-Rome, they were very pious. More so than we can even comprehend today.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that.
And I think that bowing is a more religious sign. You're showing your humbleness. That you're in. You recognize that you are low, as opposed to the greater godly stuff.
Interesting.
So that's why I think bowing happened. Obviously, they bow in Japan, and long before monotheistic beliefs appeared there. So it's just a theory, and there's always going to be holes.
Because as usual, they didn't write it down, or at least we don't have those records.
And even if they did, but like, who writes that kind of stuff down?
Exactly, right?
Do I write down why I sometimes grab people by the thumb and do that kind of hug thing?
That's exactly it. I've reflected too. I'm like, there's so many things in my life that are so normal to me that I would never have thought to talk about it or even mention it. Yeah.
Why do people these days say and like all the time?
Yeah, right?
We just do. We just do. That's what we do.
That's what we've been raised with, and that's what other people say. Yeah.
I think that works the same with the bowing too. You just do it. That's just what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. We just know it as a sign of respect. It's to them you can bow.
Yeah. You don't have to walk over and then turn around again.
Yeah.
It's actually not a bad idea too. The whole once you shake hands, you have to turn your back on your opponent. And that, I wonder if that's a bad thing. You don't have to, but you can shuffle backwards. But standard, you turn around, and it's disrespectful to turn around in front of someone. I wonder if that's another reason for promoting the bow as opposed to the handshake.
Could be. Yeah, it's just not something we have the answer to. Certainly not when it comes to specifically fencing. I mean, that would get such a broader topic of bowing in general as we already have.
Right. So, I think a final point, because we've been going for a little bit. What has changed in our minds since attending the Arnold?
Changed.
Yeah, what was changed?
Oh. You go first.
I want to attend more tournaments.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Definitely. I already talked about wanting to be a particular manual. Of training harder, but I think I can see the appeal for the competition. Like, haven't competed legitimately with HEMA ever before. Like the real, like, proving myself kind of thing. That's what I like. I really like that, and I want to be able to continue with it. But nothing seriously. I want to be more fit.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Especially with the whole.
Yeah, and you took that HEMA Strong class, which was great. It looked like.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about that actually.
Yeah, well, you can do that.
Do we want to talk about that afterwards?
Yeah. No. Talk. Yeah. Talk. Finish up what you're gonna take away, and then we'll talk about the HEMA Strong class that you did.
I was worried because I try not to be competitive. I really try not to ever fight just to win. And in tournaments, sometimes that's just the way you naturally do it. But I think you can learn a lot of truth through contrast. And as much as I learned about kind of HEMA, what it is in general, I learned about what I want from HEMA and what I get enjoyment out of, and that is the historical weaponry and practice of these martial arts, and I don't really care about just scoring points. So to me, what the clearest way I can say it is that when I shouldn't care, none of us should really care about what other people think, but if someone watches me fight and they think one thing, it's that it should be whatever it is, they should be able to watch me and say that guy is fighting historically. It's the simplest way I can say it.
That's very good. I wish more people did that.
Yes. And I feel like a lot of people think that way but get deterred because it doesn't in tournaments usually.
It doesn't. No.
Because we're not fighting, because these manuals were written to protect yourself from a life or death situation usually, and what we're doing is not.
Yeah, you can throw that away a little bit.
Exactly, yeah. To win tournaments consistently, you have to just
sacrifice.
You do.
Suicide yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
And just be better at it than the other person.
Yeah, usually speed is the biggest thing.
Very, very, yeah.
Yes.
Got me out of the Sabre Tournament for sure.
Yep. Absolutely.
So tell us about HEMA Strong.
So that was my first experience with HEMA Strong. And that's something actually it's something I really care about a lot, because basically it's using HEMA to get healthier, and it's about doing it right, not just like working out and doing a lot of practicing cuts, but like the whole fitness, holistic fitness of HEMA that it can bring. And I loved it. I wish we did more. Most of it was just a slideshow. We did do like a couple partner drills, one partner thing. So I learned really good ways to warm up, and I learned a lot about actual fitness itself. So if you already know a lot about like working out, building muscle, and improving your endurance, you probably wouldn't get much out of it. But I learned a lot. Absolutely.
That's very cool.
And we got awesome stickers.
Yeah, the stickers were sweet.
That's important.
If you haven't joined the HEMA Strong Facebook page and you're interested in fitness and swordsmanship, join that one. It's good.
Yes, sir.
Well, any final thoughts before we turn it off? I'm going for about an hour and a half now.
Go to tournaments.
Go to tournaments.
If you can.
And fight Sabre. I really like single weapon style. That was good, not mixed weapon.